Hey everyone, today we are going to discuss the literary analysis that you are going to complete over the Scarlet Abyss. So, a literary analysis is just an essay in which you analyze figurative language or specific devices in a short story or a novel. So, for this literary analysis, you are going to analyze the symbolism that is found in the Scarlet Abyss. So, the prompt states, The Scarlet Abyss by James Hurst is a tragic story about the relationship between the narrator and his brother Doodle. In a well-formed 5-paragraph essay, you are going to analyze the text and identify 3 examples of symbolism using quotes as evidence and discuss how the symbolism adds meaning to the story. So far, we have done several reading checks and other worksheets about the Scarlet Abyss and the symbolism that is found in the short story. Last week, specifically, you completed a worksheet in which you discussed 6 examples of symbolism and what the symbolism meant. So, using that worksheet, you are going to find 3 examples of symbolism and discuss that in the essay. So, again, this worksheet that you all completed looks like this, and we reviewed this either Monday or Friday of last week so that we could review the symbolism together. So the 6 examples are the bleeding tree, the grindstone, the coffin, the blighted summer, the storm, and the scarlet abyss. So, of these 6 examples in your essay, you are going to choose 3 examples and include that in the essay to analyze. So, let's look back at the prompt. So, it says to be aware of the following as you complete the essay. So, use the worksheet and discuss 3 of the 6 examples, and you have to provide a quote as evidence for each piece of symbolism that you discuss. So, I will show you how to add a quote in just a minute. And then you need to make sure that everything that you discuss in the essay is your own thoughts. So if you plagiarize the essay by either copying another student or using information online, you will receive a 0. And there is a rubric that measures your essay. So you are measured based upon focus, development, support and analysis, conclusion, language, style, and conventions. So, focus means that you would create a thesis in your introduction that tells the reader what you're going to write about. We are not going to focus on this just yet. I'm going to show you how to do this after we create a rough draft of the body paragraph. So, hold out on this and I will show you how to do it. You're going to be measured based upon your development of support and analysis and audience. So you need to be reflective, analytical, and insightful whenever you describe the symbolism found in the essays. So in your essay, if you can tell me what a piece of symbolism is, give evidence to show that you know that it's symbolism. And if you can tell me why the symbolism adds meaning to the story, then you are going to be just fine. So if you can do all of those, you will be reflective and you will be analytical. And you will also need to use transitional words. And again, I'll show you how to do that before you turn in your final copy. You need to have a conclusion in which you restate your thesis. So that will be where you tell me again why the symbolism was important to the story and meaningful. You need to use effective language, so language based upon the short story, and you need to use a thesaurus so you can vary your language and make sure you use better words than good or bad. You need to think of things like this is an excellent example instead of this is a good example. You need to have appropriate style, so you need to have a formal and objective tone, so that means you can't use I statements. Instead of saying, I think the symbolism is, you would state, the symbolism in the Scarlet Abyss is this. And then for conventions, it says no errors in usage and mechanics. That means that you do not have misspelled words. You have complete sentences. You use appropriate punctuation like periods or question marks or commas. So again, you're going to find 3 examples of symbolism and include them in your essay. So here are your examples of symbolism. So you're going to choose 3 out of the 6, and today you're going to discuss those in a graphic organizer. So you have already been asked to discuss this to a degree in a Google form that I signed last week. One problem, though, with that Google form is some of you all didn't read the directions and what was stated in the post. I had already stated that you can only choose 3 out of the 6 examples that were discussed in that worksheet. A lot of you all went online to find examples of symbolism in the short story. That is not a problem because, again, you found and learned about other examples of symbolism. However, when you went online to find those, you used information that was not your own or information that I did not give you. So that evidence and those examples of symbolism would be plagiarized. Like if you talked about Old Lady Swamp, that is not one that I want you to use because that is not a great example of symbolism in the story. And I know that if you use that, then you've read about it online. So those examples and those ideas are not going to be ideas that come from you or come from me. So you have to use 3 of the 6 examples that we talked about in that worksheet. So before we do our rough draft, you are going to complete this graphic organizer. And you're not even going to focus on the conclusion or the introduction today. You're only going to focus on the body paragraphs. So you are going to identify the 3 pieces of symbolism that you're going to discuss in the story. You're going to find a quote to support that example, and then you're going to tell me how it adds meaning to the story in this graphic organizer. So I'm going to go over a bit of an example right now with you all. So it asks you to identify the following. What piece of symbolism am I going to discuss in my first body paragraph? And what evidence shows this piece of symbolism? So if I were going to talk about the grindstone, which is an example right here, that I would state in this first box, the first piece of symbolism that needs to be examined in the Scarlet Ibis is the grindstone. That is a complete sentence that does not have an I statement that tells the audience what we are examining in that first body paragraph. Then you need to provide evidence. So what evidence or quote shows this piece of symbolism? So evidence, when you use a quote, is quoted material from the text word for word. You cannot change any piece of a quote when you put it into your paper or else it's plagiarized. So if you look here at the text, which you all have a copy of, it says, a grindstone stands where the bleeding tree stood, just outside the kitchen door. So this is an example of the symbolism. So as my evidence, I'm going to include that quote into my paragraph, but it has to appear exactly as it does in the text. So if you read this quote right here, it looks exactly as it does in the text. So to do your quote, all you do is put down word for word what's in the text into the paragraph or into this box, and then you put quotation marks around it. Once you do that, in parentheses, you're going to add the author and the page number and then the punctuation. And that is how you add a quote into your essay. And then you would tell me how this symbolism adds meaning to the story. So what does the symbol symbolize and how does it create more meaning for the audience? So this is what you're going to do today. You're only focusing on the body paragraphs and you're only choosing 3 examples out of the 6 that we've discussed.